And welcome to the Week 3 post-game show for the Rhode Island Legacy Leagues. I'm Joey Zacco. We have the new merch. It's been a long time coming. Get ready for this. Tyler Cruz also. We're going to get to him in a second. He's sporting the new merch. Jeremy has on the old but good. He's going to get some of his stuff shortly. The Legacy Leagues quarter zip. A lot of people have been asking about those, Jeremy. Those will be available. They're nice, right? You can vouch for that, Jeremy, right?
Probably because of me, they're asking for it.
You got it.
So you should have used pictures of him when you set up the store. All the merch.
We are joined by the usual crew: Jeremy Morrison, Tyler Cruz. I'm Joey Zacco. Guys, we can almost skip over my game, but we're going to get to all the games despite the action from Week 3. And then we have 2 Wednesdays off, 3 calendar weeks. So, Cruz, did you do any math? Nearly 20-something days till we're back on the court?
I didn't. I just knew we had 2 weeks off where I didn't have to be up till like 12-something writing an article.
That's the life. That's the life we choose. All right, so boys, let's start with the first game of the night. Turned out to be the best. Swish Kebabs and the Werewolves. Not the game of the week, but not the predetermined game of the week, but it was the best game from Week 3. Swish Kebabs win 71-64, and they were shorthanded. They only had 4 players, and yet they withstood the runs from the Werewolves that came early in the fourth quarter and were able to win. Both you guys saw this game. Jeremy, we'll let you start with more of – I know Cruz can always go into the historical side of things if we have to. So, Jeremy, from what you saw, we had another Dave Campbell, Brian Heston, Gino Forti, kind of balancing act, but not enough from the Werewolves this week.
Yeah, I fully expected the Werewolves to run with Swish Kebabs and try and tire them out. And speaking with Cody Platt, who's finished with 33, that's what he said that they thought that they did was run them and try to tire them out. But unfortunately, they just couldn't make any of their shots. I think the size of Greg Bell kind of threw them off a little bit. And they probably didn't give enough respect to Cody Platt. He hit a lot of good shots and made 9 for 10 from his free throws. So once again, Werewolves, they look good and they clearly have talent, but they couldn't get the win. So good job by the Swish Kebabs, though. Shorthanded, they pulled it out.
Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, and Platt really iced the game at the end with the free throws, as you mentioned. But I'm just shocked at the inefficiency of the Werewolves. They only shot around 38%. I mean, Heston 9 for 23, Campbell 6 for 16, 45 of 19, and a lot of those shots weren't terrible shots, but the problem was they were quick shots. I mean, they were good shots, but they weren't the best shots they could have been getting in the offense. They were, like you said, they were trying to speed things up too fast, push the tempo. I mean, they shot the ball 70 times. That's a lot of shots. I mean, I think they could have gotten a few more extra passes in and worked some better shots there. But other than that, Swish Kebab was just a really impressive game by them. I mean, shorthanded. It was a tight game back and forth. That really takes a lot of energy out of you. I know when it's a blowout, you're not really running as hard. So that was a really impressive game from Platt and the Swish Kebabs.
To have 4 players and to outrun the Werewolves for long stretches of that game is crazy. You mentioned it's almost like the Werewolves came in with a plan to run more than usual, and almost kind of that plan backfired on them because of the lack of depth from the Swish Kebabs. The other game that was also a grinded out game, Halfway Crooks and Duyes boys, one of the 10 p.m. games from Wednesday night. The Halfway Crooks do win, but boy, was it ugly. 57-42. The Halfway Crooks get the win. The lone bright spot, I mean, we talked about size being a problem for the Werewolves. Well, the Halfway Crooks have size, and they used it sparingly against a much smaller Duyes boys team, but that was what allowed them to get the win. I know, Cruz, you wrote the article. We can let you kick it off, but if I have the stat correct here, 6 for 33 from three-point range, and I know a couple of those came in the first quarter. So like 3 or 4 threes over the last 3 quarters is what the Halfway Crooks were dealing with against a team that was playing zone.
Yeah, no, I mean, when you play zone, it's so easy to just pull up and shoot a 3 because nobody's out there. You're thinking, all right, 8-foot rim, I know I can make this shot, and it just wasn't falling. And you know how good shooting is? It's contagious. Like you see a couple guys that are hot and the whole team gets hot. Bad shooting's the same way. I mean, you guys were 6 for 33. They weren't much better, 5 for 29 from deep. But I mean, what I think helped you guys was Lincoln and the rebounds. I mean, you guys had possessions where you had 5 possessions in one trip down the court because of the offensive rebounds. And that's what really helped you guys on the size. But I think it's a step in the right direction for the Duyes boys and a step in the wrong direction for the Halfway Crooks.
And a step in the right direction for Cruz pronouncing their name right. See the week 1 2-minute drill. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed in the Crooks' performance. I really think they need to use John Sline more. He's such a big body, and obviously they're doing zone, so it's a little tricky. But he's got to get more than 6 field goal attempts per game. And the Dewey boys, they only had number 11 John Coutu. He was kind of their only offense. He's the only guy that could really handle it and create his own shot. And he didn't even give you guys all that much trouble. 22 points overall. So if you could just kind of defend him and then let the other 3 guys. Yeah, he's a great player, but his supporting cast.
You can't do it alone.
They needed every point out of him, and they couldn't even get the win. Mm-hmm. So I think the goal for guarding the Dewey's boys is contain number 11 John Coutu, and you should be able to play defense pretty well against them.
Even that, just let Coutu get his. Like, he's gonna get his anyways. He's done it against. He scored 19 against Lob City. He's gotten his every single game. But you really don't have anyone else. Looking at that roster, looking at those statistics, you could say all you want about them, but nobody's proven that they can go out there and win on their own and help Coutu out. So that's the thing I see from them. But yeah, I agree with you with Sline getting more touches, getting more looks, but they played they did play a zone defense, and I haven't seen a zone defense since CYO, but they played a very good zone defense. You guys had trouble getting the ball inside into the post where you can get good shots.
Yeah, it was a pack-it-in zone. They had the lack of size, and they were trying to – it's one way to do it, and it almost worked.
Shout out to Joey for the great block, too. I got to shout you out right there.
Thank you. That'll be on my Instagram later in the week. Thank you. No, it was allowed 22 by John Coutu. I don't even know if we're saying it right. Whatever. We'll get it right. Coutu. Yeah.
Like it rhymes with tutu.
Coutu, nice. I like it. Leave it to Cruz to start, taking us to pronouncing school, right? But it was allowed 22. It felt like more than 22, and it's what that team needed to stay in the game, that's for sure. As we move on, we get to some of the wider margin games. We'll start with the Skyhookers and the Pizza Rolls. The Skyhookers do win by 20. It took a huge third quarter for them to do that, for them to get their second win now in a row, and as they improved to 2-1 heading into the break. We were talking about this off air quickly about the Skyhookers, but their size is going to be a constant, and it's going to kind of separate them from some teams in the league, and it's going to give them a consistent force that I think they were missing when they were in the league a while ago. Jeremy, neither of you guys saw this game. Dope. So from what you guys see in the box score, we have we can kind of go quickly. Chase Almond has been doing his thing, another big double-double.
15 rebounds.
And if you go back to see Brendan O'Donnell's stats from when he played, this is a normal night for him. He's going to shoot some more threes, but he can really score it. And so the Pizza Rolls, 53 points, but only 4 players scored for them, and they're going to need more help than that.
Yeah, and it was no question Chase Allen was going to have a big game. He's a very big player, and the Pizza Rolls really only sizable guy is Rocco Lombardi, and you saw it, 27 points. He had 21 against you guys last week, 12 rebounds. He's been really a staple for them, but just kind of like it is with the Duyes boys, just not enough. And the size, they were out rebounded 39-29 by a whole 10 rebounds. It was just, and 12 assists from the Skyhookers. They just know how to play. They know how to get the ball around. They know how to play with each other, and it really showed.
For sure. And as we move on, because the Skyhookers, 2 big wins in a row, they're going to need to keep it going when they come back from the break. That's for sure. But you take a win how you can get them. Lob City in our game of the week, a finals rematch, but 2 very different looking teams from what we saw in the finals in the summer. Lob City wins 103-64. But it was close at halftime. I know Cruz has all the stats ready for this one, but a single-digit margin at halftime. And then I did the math. I can do it quickly. 59-28 was the difference after the intermission for Lob City as they kind of got back to doing what they do. Let's go to – Cruz can always fill in. I know he has all the background in the world. So, Jeremy, your first time seeing these 2 teams play, what'd you see from the first half to the second half?
Well, it was just a totally offensive game. The first quarter, it was just going back and forth, bucket to bucket. for Boom Shakalaka, Lucas Martin was looking like he was looking last week, hitting threes, hitting some tough layups. But Lob City, with the stat that jumps out to me, 21 for 46, 45% from three, just hitting 21 threes, period. You're going to put up a lot of points that way. And they've got a lot of guys that can shoot. Cody Crawford probably being the best one out of all of them. Although Justin Tabas hit 8 for 14, so he was the best that game. But it goes without saying, Lob City has the whole package, and you got to really be on your A game defensively and offensively to get past them.
Yeah, that was Tabas's breakout game, really. He played unbelievably well. But what I really noticed, I mean, you said the three-pointers jumped out at you, Jeremy. I mean, get used to it. That's what Lob City's going to do. Those are going to jump out at you every game. Look at the assists. 19 assists on only 40 made field goals. That's about half of their baskets. No other team in the league is coming even close to that. Look at Boom Shakalaka with 5 assists. These guys spread the ball around. There are only 4 players on the court. I mean, you pass the ball 3 times and everybody's touched the ball. These guys spread the ball around insanely quickly. They know where each other are going to be. They have insane chemistry with each other, and that's why they shoot at such a high percentage, because they get such open looks by moving the ball around. I mean, they get a defensive rebound and the ball's already at half court. It's just like that with them, the way they move the ball.
For sure. And that they play with that pace consistently. And so teams can hang with them for a quarter, a half, 2.5 quarters. And it's difficult to do it for a full game with their style. Last but not least, the Boston Blazers.
This one looked
in the win column. Yeah. 95-37. They take down the Alaskan Bullworms, who fall to 1-2. But it was a really big coming out game for Corey Strickland. And Rob Boynton, who did miss week 1, is their captain, has played in the last 2 weeks. It has been a force. Math quickly is hard, but 58 combined points for Strickland and Boynton in that one, as, close first quarter, and then it was all Blazers from there.
I mean, the Blazers I said it the last week. They got kind of screwed week 1 by playing Lob City. Nobody could really get a taste of what they were really about. And then Swish Kebabs last week, the Swish Kebabs are a great team. And then they finally had the chance to really showcase themselves going against the Alaskan Bullworms. I mean, they're bigger than them. They're quicker than them. They're more athletic than them. And I think that's why you saw these breakout games. And I think that's just a staple for them. That's huge for them, because now they have all this confidence going into the next game against Boom Shakalaka, which I think they can make some noise. I think if they win that game, they're in the conversation with there's some mobility there in the tiers. I know I said there's no mobility earlier, but they could prove me wrong. I mean, these guys look really good. 34 points is nothing to wag a finger at. That might have been the highest this week.
Yeah, I've always had I've been rooting for the Boston Blazers since the start of the season. They're the first team I saw, so it's really good to see them win, and not only just win, but win in a dominant fashion. I think next week or the next time they play against Boom Shakalaka, that's going to be one of the games to watch, because both teams have ball handlers and guys who can create their own shot. So good to see Corey Strickland get 34 points up there, and a win for the Boston Blazers.
Yeah, and I think the Blazers, they're a well spread out team. They have good front court, they have a good back court. I think they're kind of put together the same way as Boom Shakalaka, so that's going to make a really good rematch. I know Belleville's probably going to kill me for saying that, but that's going to make a really good matchup.
I was going to say, yeah, Boom Blazers is one we're definitely going to keep our eyes on. Boston Blazers, they played the Swish Kebabs close last week. That's the only thing I wanted to add. They were in that game last week into the fourth quarter, and the Swish Kebabs just out-executed them down the stretch. But they were definitely in that game with the Swish Kebabs. And mobility, Cruz already going back on what he said earlier. Before we wrap it up, nice shirt, Cruz, though. Listen, you can say whatever you want. So as we head into the break, most teams have played 3 games. A couple have played 2 games. Jeremy, 1 or 2 sentences. What stands out about the league? What's the one thing that, sums up what's happened so far through 3 weeks?
Sums up the first few weeks. I'm impressed with the halfway crooks, and I'd like to see more Skyhookers game time. I need to see their game more. They're 2-1. The first game, they didn't look great just through the eye test. They got the win. Or no, they didn't. They lost to Boom Shakalaka. But I hope that I can watch their game next week, because I think they're the team that is kind of a wild card, whether or not they're good or not.
I can talk to the person who does that. I can make that happen. To make sure you see the sky.
Okay.
I just wanted to clarify that. You're welcome. Listen, it is the holiday season. Jeremy's throwing out compliments about the halfway crooks. Like, that's all I want for Christmas. Cruz, what do you got for me?
I look like I'm just copying him when I say I'm impressed with the halfway crooks too.
What
I've really noticed is the experience really stands out. You see the werewolves, you see the swish kebabs, you see the halfway crooks, you see Lob City, Boom Shakalaka. They play different. They execute differently. They're more efficient than a lot of the new teams, but I think coming out of the break, that's going to change a lot. I think a lot of the new teams have found their footing. They've been able to compete in games and even win games, and I think it's going to be an interesting rest of the season.
Yeah,
that was a lot more than 2 sentences.
Yeah, so great job following instructions over there as we put a cap on the Week 3 post-game show, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We are going to take.
Thanks, Joey.
Yeah. Hey, enjoy the break. Let me say I am looking forward to it. Not that I don't love the legacy leagues. Not that I don't love the action. We have 6 weeks in a row coming back out of that. So refuel the batteries. Goes for the players. Goes for you guys. Get everybody all ready to go so we can hit the ground running when we return to the court January 9th at the Johnson Rec Center. Guys, we'll see you then. Everybody watching, thank you very much for watching. Have a good holiday. Have a safe new year. Stay safe. And we'll see you, in 2019.
Happy holidays.
Thanks for watching.
See you next year.